Hey, all viewers and viewers, and my name is General Red Strategist, and welcome back to So You're Being Hunted. This is episode 315 now, so I'm actually recording this one before the previous one goes live, not too long after, in fact. So if you were leaving any comments on that one, just bear in mind I won't have seen them yet. But of course, we're coming back to continue on with our literature hunt. We're now on the West Island, an island that we haven't been to before. We're going to continue on. Now, I spent the last few episodes on the Centre Island, looking at various books, things like that I'd found, and sort of wondering as well how many books there were in total you could find in So You're Being Hunted. Because that's the thing, I know how many letters there are, because I've checked that. I've just never checked how many books there are in total. Now, so what I did before I actually started recording this episode was I went onto the Steam community, because there is actually a guide someone once posted which, apart from explaining various elements of Sir, it also lists all the titles of the books that you can find. Well, I say lists all the titles, it lists shortened versions of all the titles of the books. So what that enables you to do is it enables you to actually count how many there are in total that you can potentially find. And so, without spoiling myself in terms of what any of them actually said, I basically wrote down all of the titles for the ones that I think I haven't yet found. So obviously I've been keeping a list as I go along here of all the books that I have found so far. But what I've started to actually do is I've actually written down the entire list now of all possible books to find, and I've ticked off the ones that I've found. So according to the list I now have, there are, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books that I have yet to find in this game. So I've got sort of shortened versions of their titles, so that way I can try and recognise them. So for example, when just looking at my list here, there's one called A Creeping Horror. There's one that has Golden Apple somewhere in the title, not to be confused, I think, with the Golden Arm ones. There's one called Billy Robot. I think there's one of the ones we got previously was called The Mechanical Cat, but apparently there's also a book about a robot worm, or a mechanical worm, something like that. Another one that was on that list, Enchanted Machines, so there might be a book with that in its title. Duke of Numbers. There's another one, which on the list that I looked at is basically just referred to as Jack. Now, I know that there's a couple of books we've already found called Jack the Robot Killer, so I'm wondering if the Jack one is related to those, but is a separate third entry in that sort of mini-series. One called Terrible Forest, one called Archie, and one that is Gruesome something or other. I'm not entirely sure. So we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled for scarecrows and kill them. So hopefully, if we just keep at it in that regard, we will eventually get all of the books. Whether we get all of the letters, I'm not entirely sure, but if need be, we can always obviously start up a new map for that. So in the meantime, we're just going to start exploring the West Island and all that. So we've got a little village over there. There's a couple of big mansions, in fact, which is good. Hopefully now that I've freed up a ton of space in my inventory, that should be quite good. Means I'll have tons of space if I get lots of letters here or whatever. Might as well start off then, of course, with the old mansion, just to get that out of the way. Also, little aside, a little topic that I just want to quickly go over. In the last video, I mentioned Big Robot, and I was kind of asking what are they up to recently, because I feel like I've not heard anything from Big Robot for a long time in terms of what games they're working on and whatever. I actually checked between episodes. I just thought it'd be interesting to have another quick Google search in case I had missed it. There is a game that, I don't know if they're working on it at present or if they've just released it. A card-based game, in fact, which is available on Steam, called Ancient Enemy, something along those lines. I don't really know a lot about it other than the fact that, like I say, it's a card-based game. You know the likes, I think, a la Hearthstone, games like that, as far as I'm aware. But I can't say, card-based games, not really something I've ever played before here on the channel. Okay, we just got a letter. Let's go around here to the list of letters that I've found so far. Which one's this? This is letter 1. We've already found this one. We don't need that, so we can discard it. There we go. Let's put my piece of paper back. There we go. Lovely. Right. So yeah, as I was saying, I mean, card-based games, I know various people actually quite like games like that. Can't say I've ever played any of that sort myself. It reminds me actually of one of one of those this month in Steam reviews videos that I did. I think it was the April one. Was it the April one? No, it was the May one, wasn't it? The actual first game that was on that video was Monster Train, which was a recently released card-based sort of fighting game type thing. I know that obviously people are interested in that sort of stuff. Power to them, I say. But yes, that's actually an interesting fact, really. Those quick sort of this month in Steam review videos that I have done a couple of already, you know, I suppose they're actually an interesting little video to do, aren't they, on the channel, in case, you know, people are wondering what sort of games have been released quite recently. I suppose they're good for letting people know what's out there, because I know that I've had at least one instance of a comment of someone watching, I think it was the May one, saying, oh, you know, that game that was featured at such and such a point in that video was actually kind of interesting looking, they might check that out and all that, which is good, you know, if you get good ideas for things to play. I'm glad I could be of service in that regard. Because the thing is, you know, there's so many games on Steam now, especially little indie titles which of course, you know, maybe don't get as much exposure as others, and as a result maybe they kind of pass under the radar a little bit, which is always kind of sad, because, you know me, I love my indie games. I do find that indie developers sometimes have really interesting concepts, and because they're trying to get themselves noticed, they're sometimes prepared to make some really out there titles. I've probably talked about this sort of thing before, but yeah. I'll check these doors at the back here. I don't know if I did actually, did I? Or did I? Maybe I did. Never mind. Okay, right. So as we head on over to this village in the distance, that reminds me as well, I am working on a video for this month. Hello, Mr. Scarecrow. We could take you out, couldn't we? You were interested in my this month in Steam reviews videos? Well, you won't be in a second because you'll be a little bit dead, won't you, old boy? There we go. He's out. Right. Books. Is this a new one? That's our tremendous stench. We already have that one. Bollocks. Well, we'll just have to keep exploring. Keep exploring and eventually we will locate whatever it is we're looking for. Okay. Where was he even situated anyway? Was he in this field? Over here, this walled one? Probably was, wasn't he? Hang on, there's a freaking water tower over there. Looks like there's buildings off in that direction as well. We'll have to check them out. Okay, but yeah, as I was saying, I'm doing another video this month in Steam reviews for month of June. Already amassed some of the material that I'll be utilising for the video. I'll probably need to get a little bit more. I mean, the whole idea of those videos is they're basically just short, slightly comedic bonus videos that I put out here on the channel. Looking over the strangest, well, not necessarily the strangest, but strangest or humorous or just all-round entertaining reviews that people have left on Steam games that have come out recently. Obviously, as you can imagine, the rule when I'm putting them together is that the games that I look at have to be ones that have come out in the month that the video is for. So obviously, you know, there can't be any from the previous month or anything like that. They're quite fun to put together sometimes. Yeah. Oh, hide me talisman. Got some rifle ammo. I don't really need it. What am I doing? Okie doke. Yes. I suppose also, you know, when I make those videos, I know I was saying that it sometimes gives people who are watching them rather, ideas for games that they wouldn't mind checking out. But at the same time, it gives me ideas for games that I personally wouldn't mind maybe checking out either, which would be pretty good. You know, I've seen quite a few on there that I would be potentially interested in looking at. I mean, that Total Tank Simulator, which was in the May 2020 one, that was an interesting looking game, I'll admit. Neversong was also an interesting looking one. You know how I like my platformers. And I'll admit, ladies and gents, the one from the April 2020 video, Prison Princess. Okay, I'll admit, you know, I am marginally tempted to buy that one and try it out, even though I'm not a big fan of kind of puzzle games and I'm not typically very good at them. You know, my god, there's a lot of Protect Me talismans, or just talismans in general we've been finding all of a sudden. It's always funny how, you know, when you're looking for them, you don't find them. It's like they don't spawn. And yet, when you're not looking for them, suddenly there's loads of them there. Okay, nothing here, is there? Just a barrel? Yeah, it's not really going to have anything in it. Let's go over to the water tower. Okay, yeah. So yes, I wonder what sort of games we might find interesting in the next coming months as I do more and more of those Steam reviews videos. But yes. Oh, a map of the islands. Oh, thank God for that. We've got a new one of those. Okay, that's good. Thank the Lord. Because we really need that, ever since I accidentally deposited my old one, or discarded it rather. Flipping heck, right, that means we can start putting some waypoints down again in order to find my way around. There's a scarecrow over here, oh yeah, because it is a proper field, isn't it? It's a walled field, I see. Alright then, you're going to die, because we're going to see if you got anything. Okay, let's get rid of you. Also on the subject of games, whilst we're talking about that, actually I'll save that for when I've just checked this. That is the Golden Arm Part 2, which I'm pretty sure we do have, yes. We do indeed have that. Bollocks. Let's get rid of it then. What was I saying? Speaking of games which might be quite interesting, as of when I record this, yesterday I think it was, a bonus video went out on my channel. We Happy Few, ladies and gentlemen. Me and Phil recorded a preview video of that, and as of when I record this, I do have a second video of that recorded, which I did with Phil, and I mean, by the time this episode of Sir goes out, probably I will have actually uploaded and published that second episode, so everyone probably will have seen it. But in essence, you know, I don't know, as of when the first video went out, people seemed to like it, and were like, oh yeah, this is an interesting game, you should play maybe more of it, Red, and all that, which, you know what, I think is interesting, and I would totally be up for playing more of it, because it does look quite quirky and peculiar. So that's the thing, it's not a new game, We Happy Few, it's been out for a while, and I've always kind of had my eyes on it, so I bought it on GOG, which is where I play it on, because obviously I don't have it on Steam, but yeah, it's just very peculiar, and I kind of like the look of it. It's got a very interesting aesthetic, very interesting design, and it looks like one of those kind of games where there's a sort of storyline which you're meant to kind of piece together from information that you find in the in-game world. So if you haven't watched that video, or either of the We Happy Few videos, then definitely go out and do so. They're very interesting, and I'm sure they'll be right up people's alleys. And of course, if you want to see more of them, do just let me know in the comments. I mean, the likelihood is that I probably will do more of them, just in my own time. I just release them here on the channel as bonus content every so often. That's the thing, it's so many fucking games that I have on Steam and GOG, and I just want to play them, and I want to kind of do them here on the channel, because there's so many of them which are just interesting, and which I'm sure people would be really interested in seeing, but I just feel like I just don't have time. Look at this, a second map of the islands here. What's this? They're like buses, these. When you want them, they don't appear, then suddenly two of them come all at once. What's going on? So I could have just come to the West Island to begin with, and got a fresh map to replace the one that I discarded like an idiot. Well, never mind. So is there actually anything else on this island? Because there's the main village and a lot of the buildings that we've seen there. Right, maybe we need to go sort of on a loop round to the right, because there's big loads of stuff up there. Okay, so this way. So if we just turn around and head off in this kind of direction, maybe hug the coast a little. Lovely jubbly. We should be good. Right. Obviously just keep our eyes peeled as well for scarecrows, if any are knocking around. Is there any in that field? Doesn't look like it. I don't see any in the distance either. There's a fair few fields knocking around, but no scarecrows. Okay, sure, whatever. Right, well, let's move off in this direction then. Oh, man. Already low. Okay. So like I say, yeah, so many games on Steam. You know, sometimes I'm kind of tempted. Maybe I'll get some polls set up, maybe you know, using sites like Strawpoll, something like that, and I'll just list a ton of games that I have on Steam and GOG, and people, I don't know, maybe extend that out and link it in the comments, and people can vote on what sort of games they'd be interested in seeing me play from those lists. because that might be a way to get some audience engagement. I've probably talked about this before, haven't I? I've probably mentioned this idea, but I've just never got around to it. But you know me. I say things and sometimes I forget them, like an idiot. But yeah, much else to say in that regard, really, is there? Oh, lordy Lou. Whereabouts are we here? Well, we're coming up towards that sort of area. It's just this, isn't it? I think we've seen a few of these structures. I think we were checking them out a moment ago, unless that's a different pylon, but I'm not sure. Because there's that pub over there. I'm pretty sure we just checked that out, didn't we? So I don't know if there's another pub on this island. Hold on. Let's have a look on here again. Yeah, that's that one across there. Right. Just got to get my bearings, ladies and gents. That's all I've got to do. Because otherwise, what the hell am I going to do with myself? Can I check that cottage out, though? I don't know. Maybe this is a different pylon. Not entirely sure. It's like one of those moments where you feel like you've just gone in circles, but you're not entirely sure. Okay, Alright, well, we're going up here. Let's check this cottage out, then, and see what's in it, if anything. I say cottage, but look at the windows. They look so weird, don't they? There's more revolver ammo. Okay, well, I definitely haven't seen this cottage, because I don't think I've seen this dead rabbit that's in here. So it's definitely new. A cottage over here as well. Might as well check it. But if that's all there is actually on the Western Island, then I don't think there's really much else for me to look at here, is there? We could go back to the centre and kill some more scarecrows or something. Okay, that's a hide me talisman. I think we've definitely been there before, haven't we? Alright, okay, well I don't think there really is actually all that much on this particular island. Compared to other ones that I've been to, just not as many things in the way of villages. A few large structures and small structures, but that's about it, really. Sip my tea whilst I'm at it. Just noticed the time as well, it's actually 5:10 in the afternoon. Wonder what I'll have for evening meal. My evening meal, that is. Don't actually really know. Haven't thought about it. I might just, I don't know, whip up some scrambled eggs, maybe some beans, bit of sausage. Who knows? Take that. Please have a book that I haven't seen before. Right, let's try them out. Got next though. Poor Billy Robot. Oh, here we go. Okay, so Poor Billy Robot. Let's just write that down and tick it off. There we go. So that is definitely a new one. Right. Poor Billy Robot. That organ immediately took fire, and indeed, to tell the truth, kept burning night and day, winter and summer. Such was the sad fate of Billy Robot, who has been walking without stop or stay from place to place ever since. And in consequence of the flame on his nose and his beard being tangled like a wisp of hay, he has been christened by the country folk Will-o'-the-Wisp, while, as it were, to show the mischief of his disposition, the circulating knave, knowing that he must collect the coldest bogs and quagmires in order to cool his nose, seizes upon that opportunity of misleading the unthinking and tipsy night travellers from their way, just so that he may have the satisfaction of still taking in as many as possible. Okay, how interesting, lovely. Well, at least we got one thing out of that. That's good, yeah. We'll get all of these different books eventually. It's just a matter of, well, we have to keep trying, that's all. Okay, if we retreat away back towards the jetty, I think we will head back towards the centre island. Because, like I say, I don't really think there's much on this particular island to actually find. So it'll be worth doing that and then going off to a different island, or maybe sticking around killing a few more scarecrows and seeing if we can get some more books or whatever else have you. Okay, well, I think what I'll do is I'll wrap up here because I've been recording for, I think, a sufficient amount of time there. So, thank you for joining me then, episode, everyone, for episode 315 of Sir You're Being Hunted. We got a new book at the very least, but little else it seems. So I hope you'll join me for the next part where we'll continue on. We'll probably try searching for the rest of these books. Facebook and Twitter links down below as usual, along with a link to my propagandist channel for anyone interested. And in the meantime, please do leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Goodbye, everybody. Awesome. It's funny how those little tracks are just there. They don't really go anywhere. Very strange. Then again, it's abandoned mine, so maybe a few things have been torn up. Okay. There is an ominous skull and crossbones sign there. I think I know what's coming next. Yeah. That's bad. First thing I do is pull out my camera and get a close-up shot of his mouth as it bears down on me to kill me. Croshank's Velox.
crow shacks. Don't go near them, whatever you do.
I'm already near one. Oh dear. Yeah, can you not tell from the photo that I'm already pretty close and about to get my face eaten? Ugh, have it.